Welcome, everyone. I'm Chrissy Schmidt.
And I am Luis Durazo, and we're happy to be co-hosting the 16th edition of Pecha Kucha Night Edmonton.
Thank you for joining us this evening at Edmonton's McLab Theatre. We think it's pretty sweet to have Pecha Kucha back at this venue.
Yeah, this is our coming-of-age celebration, and everything's looking pretty sweet and colorful. But that's okay, because this is our Sweet 16 anniversary.
And a sweet 16 is always sweeter when you have friends and family to share it with, which is why we're happy to see so many familiar and new faces tonight. Show of hands, how many of you have never been to a PKN before?
Sweet.
Well, welcome again. We're excited you came. Louis, why don't you tell our new friends what this Pecha Kucha stuff is all about?
Okay, let me see if I can say this right. Pecha Kucha is the Japanese phrase for the sound of chit-chat. The first Pecha Kucha happened back in 2003 when the group of architects met in Tokyo to share and discuss their projects. A Pecha Kucha presentation has its unique format. It contains 20 slides shown for 20 seconds each. That's almost 7 minutes per presentation. These constraints keep the audience's attention and also challenge presenters, who must have impactful ideas and match each with the perfect image. Pecha Kucha has evolved beyond architecture, but kept the format alive, being a forum for showcasing ideas and getting people to chit-chat.
We are so very proud to be a member of 660 cities across the world with Pecha Kucha.
Yay. Chrissy, why don't you tell us more about the organization that brings us Pecha Kucha Nights?
Sure. Pecha Kucha was brought to our fine city by Edmonton's NextGen. In 2006, a city of Edmonton formed NextGen as part of an initiative to attract and give voice to the next generation. Edmonton's NextGen, well, it's a gem too, let's be serious. Edmonton's NextGen is a hub for connecting people, places, communities, and ideas. We hope events like Pecha Kucha encourage young people in Edmonton to be leaders in their community and take action in shaping their city.
And if presenting in front of 7 people is a big first step for you, that's okay. There's other ways your voice can be heard and you can positively impact the future of our city. For example, by supporting our past presenters.
Last October at PKN 14, Dave Mowat presented his vision to light up the high-level bridge with thousands of smart, programmable, energy-efficient LED lights. Tonight, the Light the Bridge Street team is here with us to promote the Buy a Bulb drive and has also challenged us to a competition. Before the end of tonight's program, tweet why lighting the bridge is a great project for Edmonton using the hashtag #LightTheBridge. And by the end of the night, the street team will pick 6 winners, each receiving a pair of tickets to the Edmonton Craft Beer Festival, which is at Northlands tomorrow and Saturday.
By the way, they'll be giving away those tickets in the lobby, so make sure to look for them at the end of the event. You can also support tonight's presenter by joining the PKN conversation on Twitter, and also share your favorite moments on Instagram and Vine using the hashtag YegPKN.
All right, our good friend and Edmonton Journal live streamer Ryan Jackson is on assignment in Inuvik, Northwest Territories, with an incredible amount of equipment, so we're going to miss him tonight. But instead, we do have our friends Marie Cezano and Aaron Marie are with us. Thanks to them. We hope to have archived videos of all the presentations in the coming days for you to watch.
Also, please remember to hold on to your tickets because we're going to be giving away some door prizes later. Yay!
Sweet.
Sweet.
Well, I think that's enough of your attention. Let's welcome our first presenter to the stage. Up first, we have Emerson Csorba, co-founder of SMART with Make Something for Single Mothers.
So, as the oldest boy in a 3-son single mother family, I've been able to observe over the last few years just how difficult it is to be a single mom. And the way that I describe it is it's kind of like running a sprint and a marathon at the same time. And it's a constant juggling act, and sometimes it feels like the most unforgiving 20-year experience that a person could go through. So growing up, I played a lot of elite sports with my two brothers. And the way things went was my mom would take one of us to baseball, another to running, then pick all three up, and then come home and then do dishes, do a bunch of other things, and repeat that 6 days per week. So it's not very easy. And a lot of you are probably wondering, what's this 21-year-old young boy doing here speaking about what it's like to be a single mom? But obviously there's a lot that I don't know. I'm not even a parent yet. That's a long ways down the road. But I hope that all of us here can understand that sometimes being a single mom is a very lonely and difficult experience. And this basically tells it. I'm pretty vocal, and my mom's vocal as well. So this is what the Csorba household looks like quite a bit. And if there's one thing that single moms need, it's a high stress tolerance. And I think that that's something that my mom has developed through experience over the last few years with 3 children. And sometimes I'll be at home, probably on Facebook, while my mom's doing dinner and doing laundry and 2 other things at the same time. And I'll say, just breathe, just relax, take it easy, it's all good. And that never leads to anything good. So I'd say being a single mom, it's like climbing Everest. It's a constant trek. And I was looking through the 2011 census, and in Canada, 16% of families are single-parent families, and 8 out of 10 of those are single-mother families. So if we look at Edmonton, there are a lot of single moms, probably thousands of single moms in Edmonton. And when we look at something like Make Something Edmonton, I feel bittersweet. Because on one hand, I care so much about the movement, because Edmontonians will support each other with these incredible initiatives. But we're really only engaging a segment of the populations. Single moms, for the most part, are left far out of this equation. So we have a puzzle that we need to solve. And the reason why I'm here tonight is to talk about SMART, Single Mothers Achieving Results Together. And it's an organization that I'm starting with my mom, whose idea it was, and we launched it today. So I'm very proud to be here. Thank you. So SMART is about empowerment, it's about learning, it's about sharing, collaboration, and having single moms support each other. Because as I said earlier, it's so difficult for single mothers to break that spell of working, of raising children, and really not being able to do anything else apart from that. So SMART is launching July 15th. Well, it launched this morning. But for SMART, it's obviously something that I care a lot about with my mom, and it's about creating positive, constructive conversations, because it's easy to be so negative about something that is so difficult for single moms. And some of you might have seen Marissa Mayer, who's the new Yahoo CEO. And if you read even a few articles, it's easy to see how negative the discussion is. Words like anti-family, anti-feminist are thrown around so often. But there are better examples. And some of you might have read Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean In. And I just finished it a few days ago in preparation for this, reading it very quickly, because I chose the slides beforehand. But it was a good book. And one of the biggest takeaways is the simple idea that mothers need support from their husbands, but in this case, single moms need support from different people. And obviously starting this organization is going to be a maze. It's going to be difficult. But the one thing that I ask from you here today is to provide a little bit of support by checking out our new website at smartyeg.com, and the Twitter handle is the same, so @smartyeg. And I spent a few years as a community league president, or 1 year, and then 1 year on the executive at Park Allen. And one thing I loved about community leagues is the diversity at the table. And we want the exact same thing with SMART. We want mothers that are young and old, single mothers that have been on their own for 6 months, and others that have been on their own for 10 years. And to me, one of the beauties of creating SMART is the sharing of ideas. Because what we'll have is single moms from different generations, from all across Edmonton. And we have ideas that we want. We want to bring in different speakers, 1 speaker per month, that single moms can see for free. But we want something like this. We want ideas, but we also want positivity, real strong relationships. And I'm not much of a cat person. I'm definitely a dog person. But even for me, this picture warms the heart. And this is really what we want with single mothers achieving results together. So with this photo, we have an open door. And some of you might be thinking, well, is this only open to single moms? Well, we want the majority of people to be single mothers within the organization, but we also have something called Friends of Smart. So if you have an organization or if you just support this as a community member, definitely go to the website smartyeg.com and provide your support. And as I said, the initiative launches on July 15th, and it'll be at the Edmonton Public Libraries, and we want to have one big meeting on that day where we bring out tons of single moms from across the city and really get the momentum going with this. So, with that aside, this is a photo of Italy. And I've never been to Italy, but I know a lot of single moms haven't been to places like that as well, and it's hard for them to do that when you have children to raise and 2 or 3, like 1 or 2 jobs to work on top of that. But hopefully, through SMART, the members of SMART can finally breathe and relax and gain the support around them to one day perhaps run their own business. So I'd like to thank you for your attention tonight, and I hope that together Edmonton can be a city that helps single mothers achieve amazing results together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emerson, for creating this great and really smart things for Edmontonians. Our second presenter tonight is Myles Curry, Marketing Coordinator for the Waste Management Services at the City of Edmonton. And he is presenting about Grasscycling and community-based social marketing.
Thanks so much. Okay, so when people find out I work for Waste Management Services, they often like to ask me about a particular thing they can recycle or one of the innovative projects that we're doing at the Waste Management Center. But as Edmontonians, we really need to start thinking more about volume. How much garbage we're throwing out as a city, and that first R, how can we reduce that? Because garbage is all about trends, seasonal, generational, all sorts of different kinds of trends. And what makes effective waste management is being able to control those trends into the waste management system that we have. So we're right now experiencing a trend of a seasonal summer spike in waste volumes. And that seasonal spike in waste volumes comes from grass. Comes from lawnmowers with bags that collect grass. Because when you mow that lawn with that bag, the grass goes into the bag, you fill up another bag, and then you put it out for our garbage collectors to pick up. And that is a particularly interesting behavior when you really think about, why do we do this? Why do we bag our grass? Well, in 1830, when they built the first lawnmower, there was a little device on the front of it for catching grass. And a lot has changed since 1830, especially if you've been out to our waste management center recently. We do a lot of things differently with our garbage. So bagging and collecting our grass is really just an outdated behavior. It's really out of step with the reality of our environment and our waste management system. We throw out 40,000 tons of grass a year. If that was buses, that would be 3,000 city buses. If we line those up, it would reach from here at the Citadel all the way to Leduc. In the summer, it's close to half of all of the waste we throw away as a city. Grass, just grass. So for our collectors, they have to pick up about 700 homes worth of waste in a day. If anyone's dragged a bag of grass to the curb, you know why that causes problems for our collectors. It's heavy, it's denser than regular garbage. So it increases the injuries to our collectors, and it makes their job just a lot more difficult than it regularly is. And when that grass gets to our waste management center, this is about a day's worth of grass in June. It just throws out our composting mix. Normally the garbage that you throw away, we can compost that great with biosolids. But grass is mostly nitrogen. It just throws out that balance, making it much more difficult to compost. Plus, grass is denser than regular garbage. So when we put it in the back of our garbage trucks, it fills them up faster. That means 6,000 trips approximately, and nearly 500,000 kilometers traveled just for grass. That's about 58 people's annual CO2 emissions just for moving grass in the city every year. It's a staggering. But the solution is simple. Do the natural thing. Leave your clippings on the lawn. Leave it on your lawn. It's simple. It's a solution that you can do. That grass breaks down really quickly, and it just decomposes on your lawn. So you're doing something simple, it's reducing the waste right at the site of the behavior. And you can see why it would have a very big effect, because there's all those environmental effects. So if everybody in Edmonton who isn't grass cycling started doing it, it'd be like removing 4,300 cars from the road every single year. That's a huge effect. And so there's great environmental benefits for grass cycling, but the kicker is, it's also better for your lawn. And it saves you time as well. So when you cut your grass, you don't spend as much time bagging your grass because that's cut out. So you save more time, and all of that time that the grass you leave composts on your lawn and waters your lawn as well. So you're doing a whole bunch of stuff as well. So this is what I mean. It's better for your lawn because grass is 80% water. So that grass sits on the lawn, that moisture goes in there, it prevents evaporation, and the fertilizer that's left over is good for your lawn. So if you're fertilizing and watering right now, you have to do it less. And if you're the kind of person who doesn't fertilize and compost, you're doing it now. So how you do this is pretty simple. You use any lawnmower. You just take the bag off the back of your lawnmower, you take the setting, you put it to medium or high, and then you just mow when it's dry. And so if you get into those clumps because it's been wet when you mow, you just go over it a second time. It's really simple. It's so simple that 60% of you in the room today are likely grass cycling. Let's get a hand for those people. Yes, yes, you're our people. We need more people doing that. We need more people in Edmonton leaving their clippings on their lawn. And we can do that. We have the ability to do that. We've done it with other projects with waste. And how we do that is working with residents. People often really say, oh, Edmonton Waste Management is so innovative and world-class. But what is the heart of that is the fact that we work with our residents. It's a lot of what you choose to do with your waste, rather than just what we do with our waste once you give it to us. It's working with residents that's made us so successful. So we're going to do community-based social marketing. We're going to identify the specific behaviors that we actually want to promote or prevent. Then we find out what the barriers and benefits are to that. Then we develop tools to promote them, incorporate that into a pilot project, and then learn and study and analyze the data we get from that so we can put it to a large-scale program to achieve the results we want. And so we have clear, concise messaging to our residents. Leave it on your lawn. Go bagless. It really speaks to the core behaviors that we want people to do. So then we go out into the communities and we seek to gain commitments and pledges from residents that they will start grass cycling. And that helps them change how they think about their waste. So we have pilot communities that we're starting this year where we're going out, talking to these residents, addressing the barriers that they've told us. Most people think that grass cycling will harm their lawn. Truth is, it's actually good for their lawn. So we need to go out and communicate with residents, and we have a variety of tools that help us do that. So here we are. We have a seasonal spike in waste volume that's caused by grass. It's harder for our collectors to pick up, it fills up our trucks faster, and it messes up our composting mixture, making it more difficult. All that we have to do, take that bag off and leave it on your lawn. And what you can do all here today is help spread this message. We need Edmontonians to hear this. So use the power of social media. Pledge to grass cycle today. Say, I'll start grass cycling. I'm going to go bagless. Hashtag it and get that message out there and be part of the new innovative wave of Edmonton Waste Management. Thank you so much to all of you for grass cycling.
Thanks, Myles. All right, next up, we have Mark Connolly, host of the CBC Edmonton News, with Downtown Story.
Thank you very much. Downtown Story, Living, Building, Growing, is about Edmonton's downtown. And it's a project that we came up with basically based on the whole theory of make something Edmonton. I grew up in Edmonton and I wanted to make our city better, and this is our opportunity to do so. And really it's a love letter to the city because we're from the CBC and we love you. Now this is the past. This was the skyline of Edmonton way back. I grew up in Edmonton. This doesn't go far back because when I was 1939 this is. And so things have changed a lot in the past 85 years. Our skyline has changed, but some things don't change. There's in the present. But we want to explore just how that is changing, because I don't think our downtown has changed as rapidly over the next 10 years and the last 5 as it did over these many years. And we've got a lot of resources that we can bring to the table to make this happen. So the question is, how do we get into it? We've started it today, and of course, it is a new arena. That's what we need, a downtown arena. So I wonder how it worked in 1908. This was the downtown arena. For those of you who didn't know, there was a downtown arena in 1908. How did that downtown arena get out of downtown? Good question. The reason it got out of downtown is they didn't want the stockyards in town down Edmonton smelling up the arena. That's why the rodeo probably won't be in this arena. Now, our effort tonight is basically to get you thinking about what is the next step. Is the arena going to have a big effect on downtown? Those are some of the issues we are going to explore. And we can explore everything because this is basically a website that is based on what is going on in Edmonton right now. This is the first LRT. Jasper Avenue, tearing up Jasper Avenue. Really unusual because, as you know, things have changed a lot since then. Jasper Avenue is now pristine, and they certainly wouldn't be tearing it up because of the LRT, or would they? Oh, maybe they would. So these are all questions we can explore on our downtown story. And what the website, which launched this morning, does, it's an interactive map that you go on, and we have data mined every building in downtown Edmonton, over 400 buildings. You click on those buildings, and it will tell you a little story about those buildings. Now, it'll also tell you that CBC Edmonton was part of downtown originally. We moved downtown 10 years ago. We used to be on 75th Street, for those of you who know Edmonton. But we started in the 50s in the Hotel Macdonald. That was the original CBC. So we are really a part of downtown, and we want to make it good. When you go to the website, you will see this map, and you will see little icons on each building. When you click on the icon, you will get information about that building, how high it is, how long it's been there, who built it, how much it cost to be built. You'll get information. There'll be a little click. You can click on web. You can see a little icon there that shows you what video is on it. And some of the top buildings, we have done panoramas of the entire city. So you don't have to go to the top of the building. You can, if you have a fear of heights. The second map is the archives of Edmonton. So we show you what used to be here and some of the buildings that we're able to save. And we mine the Edmonton archives. We thank them very much for contributing to this project. Plus, CBC has got its own archives, and we've got some fantastic video and film of some of the things that happened in Edmonton over the last 50 years. I was looking at one thing the other day that almost made me cry. It was the destruction of the Tegler building. We filmed that, and that will be on the website next week. And for those who don't know, the Tegler building was the last straw. And we'll talk about a bit more of that. Now we'll talk about downtown dwellers. Now this is E4. She's got one of the best places to live in Edmonton. It's got a great view at the top of the bell tower, great places to eat, all kinds of things to eat there, and low crime. In other words, the great horned owl can't get to her. We have a feature on her on our website, and you would not believe the views. And of course, because we are the CBC, we have the ability to promote all this on radio, television, and on the web. So when we are talking about a story that goes on, one of the stories we've done this week is called Top Office. And the Top Office is in the top of Manulife Center. It belongs to ICI Capital Corporation, who you probably never heard of, but they've got the best views in town. We went up there and talked to them about their office, and we give you those views. And that story is on the website right now. You can watch it. But it's also about the people who live downtown, including E4, of course. So we're doing profiles of people of why they moved downtown, why they're there, how they came to, and how they're coping with it. This is another thing we hope to do. We're going to put these QR codes on buildings. So when you go into a building, you can flash on that, and that will give you information about that building and about what we have on our website that shows you about that. Some old buildings, some new. So it's kind of cool, I think, to get people out in the city. We'll be able to do tours. One of the dreams that I would like to do, for instance, is having people share their story. So we won't do all the video. People have, you got your phone, you got your iPhone. You can do your video, tell your story about your neighborhood or your building or where you live in downtown and upload that. Another part that we'd like to do is, I don't know if you have this picture of your parents walking in downtown Edmonton like this. And I have them. They're black and white. They used to take these pictures. And there's tons of these pictures around of people in downtown Edmonton. And we'd like to put those on the website as well. So you can participate. And of course, there'll be all kinds of prizes for that sort of thing when we put it on. The key here is that we want to give the opportunity for Edmontonians to interact with their downtown. Did I mention cats? I would like to have the cats of downtown Edmonton. However, my web developer is pushing back on this. I told him, I don't know what kind of web developer you are, but cats are big on the internet. So I would, if you don't mind sending me an email, say, yes, I would like the cats page, and then I can push it to him. The thing is, though, I would love this to be crowd-generated. I want you to tell us your ideas for downtown Edmonton. What would you like to see? I would, for instance, love to have Gene Dubb do a walking tour, starting at City Hall, which he designed, going to the McLeod building, where he basically put that together, and then to the Alberta Hotel, and get a whole crowd of us to follow him around to these various sites. And at the end, you know, we'll have a food truck there, and we'll have some nosh. But it would be great to meet these kind of people. And also on the website is walk and talks with all kinds of people. Gene was one of them. Also Donna Clare, Ed Fong, 104th Street Action Committee. John Day, who's a developer who really likes to save buildings in our downtown. So all of these people are people who are going to be part of this website, and we want you to be part of it as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you also to Myles and Emerson. You guys kicked off our night. It was a great job. Go ahead, Louis.
We would now like to ask our mayor, Stephen Mandel, along with Brian Murray and Carol Newman, the co-chairs of Edmonton's NextGen, and Joshua Kupch, Sheriff Maid, to the stage for some special words.
Thanks for joining us tonight. Remember, you only have 20 slides.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming out. I'm Carol. This is Brian. And NextGen, I've been asked to talk a little bit about what NextGen is and why we exist. And in a nutshell, we exist to celebrate and maximize the awesomeness of this town by promoting the engagement and involvement of people like you, 18 to 40-year-olds, across all of Edmonton. And we do that through great nights like this and a host of other types of programming and events. So things like supporting grassroots initiatives through our Meet microfunding dinner, giving voice to younger Edmontonians in the upcoming election through our candidate speed dating type election forums, as well as a new election ambassador program, bringing you the ideas for Edmonton Cultural Incubator Program, the results of which will be announced very soon, and connecting people through the cultural industries via the dialogue events, which are coming up on June the 25th.
Have you guys ever heard of NextGen Month? Anyone? It's awesome. I don't know if you knew that. NextGen participates in all kinds of things, and Carol was nice enough to go over quite a lot of them. Joshua is joining us from MAID, and what we do every NextGen Month, our lovely mayor, thank you, sir, for being here, comes up and proclaims June as NextGen Month. And every year, we would like to offer the proclamation to one of our favorite partners. Just kidding, you're all our favorites. So Joshua is up from MAID. He's going to tell you a little bit about MAID, but it's a big thing for us to invite our partners up. Some of our goals on NextGen, of course, are to be the voice of a generation, to expand our partnerships and our reach across the community here in Edmonton, to expand our own capacity to be able to go out and do a lot more, and to accelerate ideas such as Pecha Kucha Nights. So it's our pleasure to invite Josh up here to talk a little bit about media art design exposed in Edmonton.
Thank you, Brian. Yes, I am here representing Made in Edmonton, and as Brian explained, that stands for Media Art and Design Exposed in Edmonton. We're a not-for-profit, volunteer-run organization whose primary mandate it is to enrich the discussion around art and design in Edmonton. And we've been fortunate enough to partner with NextGen on many occasions, not the least of which is Pecha Kucha Nights 17, which will be October 5th, and as part of a larger initiative between NextGen, Made in Edmonton, and Progress Unlimited, entitled Design Downtown, which we're really excited for, so thank you.
I don't know. Do I speak now?
Take it away, Mayor.
Thank you, thank you. First of all, NextGen's working. The goal when the idea started with this was to make sure that the generation, which is the future of our city, would have influence and give direction to the city. And I can tell you that City Council, when we make decisions, we listen to and we hear and we abide by the words of the next generation. And we're much appreciative that the next gen has led to the younger people coming out to City Council and telling us what you think, what you want, which allows us to make decisions that are of interest to you. And I think that's one of the great things about the next gen. So I want to thank you all very, very much, because before that didn't happen. All of us, well, I would say most of us in City Council, can't speak for everybody, deeply believe this is your city. You know, the next 25 and 30 years will be what you make this city of, not what we will. We're kind of, you know, I'm kind of historical, you know. I'm leaving, moving on. I'm going to be, you know, retired. I don't know what the hell I'll do, but anyway. Actually, the other day I was applying for a job up here with some other, but I didn't get it either. So, but I really do want to thank NextGen for the work that they've done. You cannot know how much it means to me to know that we have a group of people like that are in this room that care deeply about this city, care about what happens here, and has made a heck of a difference, I'll say hell of a difference, in what our city is. And really, we are deeply indebted to you. And I can't thank you enough. This Pecha Kucha Nights, but the other things that you've done and the passion that you've shown really makes my heart feel great. And when I leave in October, I know that the city is in good hands, and you will not be quiet. That if things occur that you don't like, you'll speak up and you'll tell us. You tell those politicians, no, this is not what we want. We want something different. And so it's a great honor I do read this proclamation and give it to the three of you. It says, whereas Edmonton is a vibrant, welcoming city shaped by the lives and leadership of the next generation, whereas NextGen connects people, places, community, and ideas through events, leadership, opportunities, and professional development, whereas NextGen will be holding various events throughout the month to encourage and engage the entire community. And whereas Edmonton supports young, passionate, community-minded individuals who are taking the future into their own hands, I want to repeat that, who are taking the future into their own hands by creating a city that attracts and gives voices to the next generation. Therefore, I, the mayor, or actually the citizens of Edmonton, do hereby proclaim NextGen Month, June 2013, in Edmonton, Alberta's capital city. So please take this with my greatest thanks and appreciation.
Thanks again to the mayor for joining us tonight. As you can guess, Pecha Kucha is not the only thing that Edmonton NextGen does. There's a number of other events we have on the run.
And some of those events that are upcoming include Roots and Flutes, plant trees while drinking mimosas from champagne flutes this Father's Day. And also, this month's Dialogue Speed Mentoring sessions are about fashion.
You can learn more about all these events on edmontonnextgen.ca. You can learn about them on our Facebook page as well, which you can find the Facebook page on nextgen.ca or by your lucrative searching skills. And we'll probably be tweeting about most of them as well if you follow the at EDM NextGen hashtag.
That's correct. And to continue the first part of our night, now we have the co-founder of Urban Pulse, Dan Jacob, and he's here to present on the future of civic engagement.
Meet Sean Healy. Sean is a 28-year-old computer programmer here in Edmonton. And you know what? Aside from growing a pretty awesome beard, Sean loves Edmonton, and Sean is really passionate about making his city a better place to be. And the thing about Sean is that, you know, Sean has a lot of interests. He's a really charismatic, interesting guy. And one of the things that Sean is really passionate about is the environment. As you can see here, he is quite a botanist. Love you, Sean, if you're in the audience. so obviously in the environment is important to Sean, and to go along those same lines, Sean, with sort of environmental tendencies, Sean also really believes in public transportation and in taking the bus, and believes that a good transportation system is pivotal to the success of a thriving, vibrant, dynamic city. So in addition to environment and in addition to public transit, another interest to Sean is reading technology blogs and local civic engagement blogs, such as his favorite blogger and pecan lifer, Mac Mail, which you'll notice right here. Shameless plug. But here's the thing about Sean. Great picture, by the way. Sean, sometimes gets jaded, sometimes gets confused and disappointed, because despite all these amazing interests of his, he still doesn't necessarily know how he personally can make an impact as a citizen of Edmonton, even though he's interested in doing so much more. Now, I mentioned he's a programmer, and so one of the things that Sean looked into was the city's open data catalog, an amazing repository of information that collects all public data that, from the city that is readily available for citizens like you and me. But the problem with the open data catalog is that it's a one-way communication channel. The city puts up that information and hopes that guys like Sean will go and check it out and make sense of it and contextualize it and make it sexy. Yeah, I just said that. But here's the thing, one-way communication, that's not how it works. And so when Sean gets frustrated because he feels lonely, and so he's not getting the feedback loop necessarily from the open data catalog, so he goes to other forums like town hall meetings. But as you can see, even despite all his keenness, sometimes he's the only one there. And so we try to think about it. What can Sean do? What can Sean do to be more engaged? And I think a lot of us have this problem. We share this sort of sentiment. A lot of the time, civic engagement for NextGeners is reduced to voting once every 3 years, taking 10 or 15 minutes out of our day, and that's it. And the thing is, we have all these interests. We're passionate about the environment or public transit or technology. And so people say, oh, you're NextGeners, so go on social media or go on Facebook and tweet to your counselor. But, let's face it, sometimes the zombies get there first. And beyond that, you only have 140 characters, and sometimes issues are more complex than that. And so what platform or what mechanism do we have? Let's face it, really, Sean's looking to get more engaged. No, Sean, not that kind of engaged. So I thought I'd take the rest of the presentation to kind of explore that. What does true civic engagement mean? Not Twitter. No, and not budgies, if that's what you're wondering. No. This is Sean's parrot, Swix. And now, Sean has a close relationship with Swix, and Swix communicates back with Sean. There's two-way communication, which is this absolutely pivotal it's of pivotal importance to civic engagement. But why can't our public officials necessarily give us that same communication? It's not anything new. This is, when we were preparing for this, we went online, and Sean had some challenges with RDO, the online music streamer, and the customer service rep got right back to him within minutes. And so it really begs the question that, for an organization as large as the city, as important as the city, as central as the city, that's looking after so many really important aspects, what needs to be designed or created or changed to help respond better in a more dynamic way for sort of 21st century civic engagement? And so I think what we do is we need a new system. We need a new system that reflects our changing interests, our changing ways of how we communicate with one another, and that reflects ultimately how we want to communicate with our city councilor, that maybe we don't want to go to town hall meetings or go to city hall to voice our opinion. Because let's face it, the reality is that politics is personal, that a lot of the hot topic political issues aren't of interest to us, but maybe a lot of other interests like the environment or other things that we're following are. We have different backgrounds and different interests, like whether it be the environment or public transportation or technology. And we need our tools to do a better job of that. Sometimes we don't have time for two-way communication face-to-face, but just because we can't have face-to-face communication doesn't mean we can't have two-way communication with our city councilors. And I think this is a really important piece, especially in light of just what Mayor Mandel was just saying, which is that, you know, it's about our future and it's about us taking hold of it. It's about us recognizing what are the hot topic issues that we care about and making sure that those are congruent with the city councilors. And not just letting the city councilors speak on what they think the next generation want for this city. And so, you know, Sean and I got together and we were talking about this. We're hanging out at Startup Edmonton and we're saying, you know, what could we do? And so we decided to build a mobile platform that would help to take the interests of our generation and tag them and work with the city clerk's office at the City of Edmonton to create push notifications that would notify you by your mobile device about what's happening in your city. And NextGen got hold of this and got really excited and has decided to sponsor the development of this app, which includes threaded discussion forums, mobile polling, and direct messaging to your city councilor. So we're really excited to let you guys know that today is the official launch of urbanpulse.ca. And I just wanted to say, if you're interested in signing up as a beta user, shameless plug, urbanpulse.ca will be available, and the site will go live at the beginning of July. Thank you.
Thanks, Dad. I love the slides. Super original. It's awesome. That's 2 startups today from our speakers already. That's awesome. Hey, guys. That's really awesome. All right, our 5th speaker for the first set here. I just missed my slide here. Andrew Whiston Smith, sculptor of teeth, Art Dental Center with What's in a Smile.
Thanks. So if you're like me and you work in an artistic field, you'll know that at the end of the day, your body may be going home from work, but your mind certainly is not. And in fact, you're constantly looking at the world around you, critiquing what you see in light of your professional knowledge. So I'm a dentist. I'm always looking at teeth. But if that comes up at a, say, PK intermission, and I'm chatting with someone, up goes the hand, and, ooh, you can't look at my teeth. But you know what? I already did. I've been doing it for minutes while we've been chit-chatting away. So I'm going to share with you tonight what it is I'm looking at, and then I won't be the only one looking at teeth the rest of this evening. So we're going to start with a basic design principle, and that's golden proportion, or Fibonacci's ratio. And that ratio is 1 to 1.618. The Greeks were looking at it for a long time. They looked at the natural world and said, wow, that's really beautiful. It's pleasing to my eye. And they figured out there was something that they could quantify it with. So if you take that ratio and then apply it to teeth, you see you've got a central incisor that's 1.618, the width of the lateral incisors. And sometimes those guys are skinnier than they should be. And the cuspid, 0.618, sometimes it's out of place, and then it looks wider than it should be. And you can also apply that ratio to height and width on teeth. So if a tooth is given, say, the width of 1, it should be 1.618. Now, Diana here has what we're going to call perfect smile. Okay? Her teeth, golden proportion, are great height and the width to each other. But I want you to take note of that blue curving line. That's the smile line. It connects all the tips of the teeth, and it matches her lip line. And then there's the black vertical line, of course, her midline, and it goes straight up and down. Duchess Kate here has matching teeth left and right. That's important, especially the 2 middle ones. Central incisors, 1s, match. Lateral incisors, 2 match, and the cuspids match. And then in the corners of her mouth, that little blue triangle, that's the buccal space. We want to see a little bit of space there, because if there's none, the teeth look too big for the mouth. Now, what happens when that smile line doesn't match the lip line? This lady's smile line got flattened, or a little bit of a reverse curve to her lip. So, and she's got lots of gum tissue showing too. So they just did orthodontics, no crowns, no veneers, nothing. They just lined it up, and you see how much more harmonious her smile looks to us. This older lady's got some mismatched front teeth. And remember, they're critical because they're right next to each other. So her left one is wider than her right one. Her right one's up a little bit higher. And if you follow that smile line around from the right corner of her mouth to the other, you'll see how it kind of waves up and goes down and comes back around. So that throws things off. Now, this is a congenital defect that happens for some people called peg laterals. You can see the narrow tooth.
Hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody. Before we get going again with presentations, let's give away some prizes.
Woo! All right. John Loveseth, come on down.
All right. Where do we start this?
All right, so you guys should have received a red ticket stub if you came in the door. I apologize if you did not. Pull out those stubs right now, please, and find out if you're a winner.
So the first prize, sponsored by Field Law, and it consists of a yoga bag and mat.
It's beautiful.
Very fancy. And the winning ticket number is 318596. Come on down, pick your prize. There she is.
Four at once. Four of these guys.
Next we have 2 gate admissions to the Klondike Days donated by Northlands. And K-Days, okay.
I believe the marketing campaign is "What's your K?"
And there's 4 of them. So
And we have 4 of them, so we're gonna say 4 winning numbers.
there's 2.
Oh, I gotta say a number. Okay. 318856. And 318727. I do? Oh, I got, sorry. 318844.
Oh.
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
Sweet.
I think we're missing one number for the K-Days.
I have one in my hand.
Okay.
All right, ready? 318866.
K-Days, another K-Days line. Yeah, we had 4 of those.
Sorry, any takers? 318866.
That was the last one, so we need another
I
ticket.
like it.
There we go. So,
right.
winning ticket number 318804.
We got a winner. All right.
All right, next gift.
Next we have a $50 gift card plus an E-Town t-shirt donated by Foosh.
Yeah.
And the winning ticket number is
There we go.
318660.
Next up.
Okay.
$50 gift card with an E-Town ball cap donated by Foosh.
Oh, yep.
I need a number, please. 318802. $802, anyone? Takers?
Boom.
You want me to go all the way up there with my high heels?
Next we have a $100 gift card to the Common. Woo! And the winning ticket number is 318676. There she is. Congratulations. Next we have a $100 gift card to Bamboo Ballroom. Winning ticket number 318783. Oh. Congratulations.
All right. $50 gift certificate to the next act goes to 318798. Thank you.
Next, we have a $50 gift card to the next act, 318601.
You're going to win 3 of these exact prizes.
All right, we have 3 of these prizes to give away this next one. Each of these prize kits will include 2 tickets to the Late Night Cabaret, Thursday, June 20th, donated by the Citadel, along with a $20 gift card to Famoso Pizzeria. It's the pizza that just keeps on giving. All right, so first one goes to 318620. 620. All right.
Same prize, second winner, 318769.
And last one.
And the third one, 318579. 579, shout out. Close. All right, let's try again. 318777. All right.
Next, we have 2 six-pack passes to the Edmonton International Film Festival, and it seems to be like a director's cap to go with it. And the winning ticket number is 318794. Where? Oh, okay. Perfect.
And so they're 2 of the same box.
Okay.
Can you do that?
I try.
All right.
All right. Again, we're going to have 2 winners for each of these packs. It is a 6-pack pass to the Edmonton International Film Festival. First recipient of this lovely prize goes to the ticket holder of 318582. I can't see.
Next prize, sponsored by Fringe Theatre Adventures, consists of 2 festival mugs, 2 pairs of spy sunglasses, and a mini Fringer pass. And it goes to number 318803. We have a winner?
Yeah. All right, and the second 6-pack of the Edmonton International Film Festival goes to 318809. Yeah. Come on down.
There it is. Congratulations. I'm last. The last one. This one. 2 fragrances. 2 bottles of fragrances donated by L'Oreal.
And last prize are 2 bottles of Armani fragrances, sponsored by L'Oreal Luxe. And winning ticket number is?
Oh, I get to say it.
Yes.
318819.
You're going to smell so good.
As John here has just said, you're going to smell so good.
Yeah, that's it, guys. Thanks, John.
That's it for prizes. Thank you so much to all those companies that donated those. It's great. So, Louis, those are some sweet prizes, were they not?
Yes, sweet prizes for sure. Thanks, John, for helping us handing those out. Go, John. Well, congratulations to all the winners, and a big thanks to the sponsors that made it possible.
Before moving on to the next group of presenters, we'd like to take a couple of minutes to make a very exciting announcement.
Yes, the next Pecha Kucha Night, PKN 17, will be held on October 5th, and we have a big surprise in store.
We are going national, and of course it's going to be amazing.
PKN 17 is part of a Designing Downtown weekend that will feature artists, architects, and leaders from across Canada.
With our Designing Downtown partners, Progress Unlimited and Made in Edmonton, we will activate the downtown core to put Edmonton on the map as a design capital and to challenge all Canadians to think differently about urban cores.
Yes, and you may have already seen the Makescape Urban Intervention behind the library, a leading event for the big Designing Downtown October weekend.
You have one more day to check out the intervention. MAID's team has completely transformed the plaza, which directionally, I think is over there, with art, grass, food, and more. So check that out, you guys. You have today and tomorrow only.
Yep, before it's gone. Well, to continue with presentations, we are pleased to have Alistair Henning and Gary Garrison here with us to present Macaulay Then and Now.
Good evening. I'm Alistair Henning.
And I'm Gary Garrison.
We're here to talk about one of Edmonton's first neighborhoods, Macaulay. A week from today, we'll be launching a book that tells the story of ordinary people working together for over 100 years to make life better for themselves and their community.
So what is Macaulay? We believe the heart of the community is its people, but geographical boundaries are a good place to start. To outsiders, Macaulay is that neighborhood northeast of downtown that they drive through to get to Commonwealth Stadium. Or maybe they've ordered takeout in Chinatown or stopped in Little Italy for a cappuccino.
People have always been coming and going in Macaulay, as this aerial shot from the 1960s shows. The camera was situated at about 82nd Street and Jasper Avenue. We are looking northwest from there. The railroad tracks cut across the middle of the photo. Everything above that is Macaulay.
The railroad wasn't the only set of tracks in Macaulay. In the early 1900s, 3 streetcar lines ran through here. Edmonton's first streetcar run included this stretch of Sutherland Street, now 106 Avenue. The church in the background was one of the first on 96th Street, which now has so many churches it will soon be renamed Church Street.
Largely because of its proximity to the railroad tracks, many industries located in and near Macaulay. What is now Caboto Park was the site of the city's streetcar maintenance barn from 1908 to 1913, when it was converted into the Edmonton Technical School.
Since its early days, Macaulay has been attracting people from many places. The first immigration hall was built in the 1890s. A newer brick building replaced it in the 1930s. Here, immigrants got help starting their new lives in what was, for them, a very different culture and climate.
Starting about 1900, people immigrated to Macaulay from Ukraine, Scandinavia, Germany, Hungary, Russia, and other parts of Europe. After World War II, Macaulay had a large influx of Italians. This is Rena Spinelli.
Rena and her husband, Frank, established one of Macaulay's most prominent businesses, the Italian Center. It began as a corner store and carried more and more European food products as the Italian community grew. Before long, it became a supermarket, a grocery distribution company, and a major employer in the neighborhood.
Orlando Bruno came to Edmonton in the 1960s, but commuted to Brooklyn, New York to work as a chef. He needed a job here to be close to his family. The Spinellis helped immigrants like Orlando find work in Edmonton. As a sideline, Orlando developed fruit tree grafting techniques he's taught to many people in the Edmonton area.
The Spinellis played a major part in changing Alberta legislation so that individuals could make wine for themselves at home. This mosaic on the southwest wall of the store celebrates that achievement. As well, the Spinellis were major supporters of a community effort to make Caboto Park an attractive place for families to gather.
Our working class community has always had a strong commitment to helping one another get through the tough times. The Great Western Garment Factory was a major employer of immigrant women. From its beginnings in 1911 until it closed in 2004, GWG was a union shop and offered good working conditions and wages to its employees.
This was the warden's residence for the Alberta Penitentiary from 1906 to 1920. In the 1930s, the Ladies' Orange Benevolent Association changed it into a home that provided for the maintenance, care, and education of children in needy circumstances. It had a capacity of 55 children.
Many helping organizations in the neighborhood were inspired by the needs of the residents here and followed in the tradition begun by Immigration Hall. The Marion Center operates a soup kitchen and used clothing depot. It was started by a lay order of Roman Catholics from Combermere, Ontario. Meetings that started the Edmonton Food Bank also happened in this building.
The Herb Jameson Center, operated by Hope Mission, provides short-term emergency accommodation. The center has a capacity of 250 beds and can accommodate 70 more in the winter. During the first 6 months of 2010, over 41,000 bed nights were used.
But it wasn't just formal organizations who did good work in the neighborhood. For example, Daisy Gregory here, who raised 6 sons in Macaulay, participated in public demonstrations to drive drug houses and sexual exploitation activity out of Macaulay.
In the 1980s, prostitution became a big problem in Macaulay. John's even prowled neighborhood school grounds. Accounts show that there were 750 women and 250 children on the street selling sex, and 3,700 vehicles a day on residential streets, where 600 was the norm.
Community activists work with the police and all 3 levels of government to restrict traffic and help the women and children who are being exploited. One of the most visible changes was making streets one-way to prevent cars from circling.
Kate Quinn and John Kochman, whose picture will come up here in a second, they raised 2 children in the neighborhood and were at the center of the struggle. Kate became the director of CEASE, the Center to End All Sexual Exploitation. John helped start the Boy Macaulay Health Center and worked to fight homelessness.
So Macaulay School closed as a school in 2010 and now operates as a community center. It now houses many organizations that continue to do good work today. Like the groups Kate and John started, these 2 began when concerned citizens who wanted to make a difference in their community and just started things up.
Now, more than ever, Edmonton needs people like Rena, Daisy, Kate, and John. People who aren't afraid to roll up their sleeves and get to work.
Macaulay's a great community because of folks like them. Now, who will be the next to step up? What are you prepared to do in your community to create the change you want to see? Thank you.
Thanks, guys. This thing likes to jump on me. All right, next up, we have Anna McRobbie, co-founder of Mosaic Minds, Open Space Technology, and Unconferences.
Thanks, you guys. So my name is Anna McRobbie, and I'm here to talk to you about open space technology and Unconferences. So to go to the beginning of the story, me and a few friends were trying to have in-depth conversations about local issues. We were trying to figure out how to do that. So we thought maybe a conference. And then we realized our PowerPoint isn't on. So we wanted to have these conversations. We wanted to engage, we wanted to empower, we wanted to inspire. And we kind of, conferences are a pretty tried and true way of getting people together, right? But what do you think of when you think of conferences? Do you think of excitement? Do you think of fun? Or do you think of that? So that was the reaction that we had for a lot of people. And so we decided to go back to the drawing board. And one of my professors, very, very fortunately, introduced me to the idea of open space technology. So open space technology is an approach to getting people together in groups where you don't have any set agenda, but you have a central focus. And so this theory, like many good theories, was developed after a few drinks by a gentleman named Harrison Owen in the early 80s. And so the 2 things that are required for open space technology to work are passion and responsibility. So your audience has to have passion for the issue. They have to have a responsibility to solving the issue. So passion, interest, responsibility, commitment. And Harrison Owen was quite a remarkable fellow. He really had faith in people. He really trusted groups to be able to self-organize. So groups, potentially, that you wouldn't expect to. Sorry, I'm just going to take a second. So, he based the idea of open space technology on faith. He also based it on 4 principles and 1 law. So the first principle is, whoever comes are the right people. And so you have to let go of who might have, who could have, who should have come, and focus on the people that are at hand. In his words, he says the strange thing that he has noticed is that the right group is always the group that's present. The second principle is whatever happens is the only thing that could have happened. And this is quite inspiring. Think about it. In this room, these people, these topics in this space will be the only time that this will happen. And whatever happens tonight is the only thing that could have happened. The third principle is very tied to the fourth principle. Third principle is whenever it starts is the right time. And the fourth principle is, when it's over, it's over. And this can be quite hard in our time-driven, clock-centered world where, I'm looking at you, Pecha Kucha. This can be hard to step back from the clock and really think about how creativity, deep learning, and meaningful connections are created. You don't phone your buddy Bill up and say, hey, I want to meet tomorrow and have a creative breakthrough, 10 a.m. You there with me? Doesn't work that way. And so, with that, the law of 2 feet. So, the law of 2 feet is, if you are neither learning nor contributing in a space, it is your responsibility to yourself and to the group to go to somewhere where you are learning or contributing. And so that is open space technology, 4 principles, 1 law. And so open space technology works really well in groups that are engaged with issues that are urgent, very complex, and highly diverse. It's not for everyone, and it's not for every event. Whew. You guys are making me nervous here. You're so bright and shining.
We're loving you.
Thanks. Whew. So, it's a nice theory, right? Open space technology, it sounds pretty exciting, but there is always a gap between theory and practice. So, trying to figure out how to bridge that gap was part of our introduction to Mosaic Minds. And so that is an unconference. And so an unconference is a participant-guided event centered on a central theme. So this is the first unconference that Mosaic Minds led. It was based on building and sustaining community. And I just have to say that it was one of the most inspirational events that I've ever attended. People stepped up, they stepped out of their comfort zone, they took charge, and they made things happen. Our second unconference was based on renewable energy. And I just have to say, wow, if anybody is in this room that was there, that was like, I cried so many times during that conference because people just blew me away. And so these are my lovely co-founders, Macaulay and Ilana. And next to them is the wondrous schedule. So an unconference, you don't come in with a set schedule, you make it yourself. So this schedule was made by 50 different people in about 20 minutes. Every single session in this schedule came from the audience, was led by someone from the audience. Think about that. Think about how amazing that is. So this is my lovely co-founder, Ilana, who is in the audience, and if I can get her to stand up, this is her moment of glory. Woo! Yeah! And if you have any questions, please talk to me or to her after the event. We would love to talk to you. So this is an example of what happens after an unconference. So this is a supernova. It is a nebula, and it is very beautiful. It's also pulsing with energy. It's creative. It's exciting. Things will happen. And unconferences tend to produce that. People get very motivated. They want to take action. And we've seen that over and over with the unconferences that we've held. So Mosaic Minds is we're starting a new project. We're starting a new project on civic engagement and the upcoming municipal elections. So if you're interested in engaging, empowering, and inspiring people around that topic, we would love to talk to you. So thank you very much. Thank you, the audience. Thanks, Pecha Kucha. Thank you, Jenny. Thank everybody involved with this. Thank you from Mosaic Minds, and thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Anna. Next up, we have Mara Eriksson, Communications Director at the Operation Grassland Community, with her talk titled, Conservation Caravan Going Beyond the Barbecue.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so I think we all enjoy a good road trip most of the time. It's, windows down, wind in your hair. So I want to take you on one, just really quickly, a virtual one, down to southeast Alberta, to the Grasslands. So this is a very gorgeous landscape. We might see a herd of pronghorn running into the distance, or perhaps see some red-tailed hawks flying overhead. And yeah, we'll probably see a cow or two. It's very difficult to take a road trip in the Grasslands without thinking about ranching. So let's take a quick break from that scene and come back to a grocery store in the city where a lot of these cattle will probably end up. Now, if we buy our meat at a grocery store, we might take a second or two to wonder about where it's from. Is it from Alberta? Is it good quality? We might wonder about the health of the animal itself in terms of how it was raised or what it was fed. But what we don't often wonder about is what that tasty steak on our plate might have left behind. So how often do we actually ask ourselves, how did the presence of this animal contribute to a healthy landscape and a healthy wildlife community? Now, to put that question into context, it's important to know that Alberta's grasslands actually have 75% of the province's species at risk, like this ferruginous hawk here. And that's a lot considering that same region only makes up about 14% of the entire land base of the province. Alberta also has a lot of ranching, like I mentioned before. 40% of all Canadian cattle call this province home. So when you think about that amount of ranching that's going on, coupled with the number of species at risk down there, you might think ranching's not so good for species like burrowing owls, for instance. And these little guys are federally endangered. They're estimated to only have about 10 years left in the province. But the truth is, or actually in Canada, but the truth is that burrowing owls actually love Alberta beef. And there's a good reason for it. They've evolved within a system of grazing. In fact, you rarely find them in areas that don't have grazers. And this is because the cattle of today they're essentially doing the job that the bison did hundreds of years ago. So the method and timing of grazing applied in areas where the burrowing owls are is crucial to how they hunt for food and also hide from predators. But that interdependence between grazers and other species on the landscape generally doesn't come up when we think about ranching. We usually maybe think about the not-so-good things. There's links to climate change. We might think about cultivation of land to raise grain for feed, and those are certainly issues. I won't downplay them. And it's largely because of those issues that we've seen a rise in consumer demand for sustainable production. But what is less known is how ranching can actually be essential to some prairie species, like that example I mentioned with the owls before. For some species in trouble, it might actually be their best bet of recovery and success. But there's a problem, and that problem is that a lot of ranchers don't get paid for the good they do in terms of habitat stewardship. They really only get paid for that tasty steak they produce, and oftentimes struggle financially to do even that. So they find themselves in a situation where they see this demand, this growing demand for sustainable production. But without payment for some of those sustainable practices, it's very difficult to overcome associated costs because it's not free. Even if something's great for the landscape, it still costs money to implement. So if consumers also desire stewardship of wildlife and habitats and value that landscape, then the realities of that stewardship, including cost, really need to be communicated to consumers. Because it's not that people aren't willing to pay, because people are. They want that stewardship to happen. It's just that many of us simply don't know what it takes. And that's where Operation Grassland Community wants to step in. So we are a habitat conservation and a wildlife conservation program, and we've worked with ranchers for over 20 years to find win-win solutions between the economic viability of their operation and the wildlife that's on their landscape. And we want to tackle this imbalance of communication between producers and the consumers of their product through a film initiative that we are calling the Conservation Caravan. And this Conservation Caravan film will be the actual road trip that I had you briefly picture before. And through ranch-to-ranch interviews with our membership, we want to share stories really of the real life down on the prairie. And we want to highlight that behind-the-scenes habitat stewardship in which our ranchers engage that many consumers don't always think about or may not even know about when they think about ranching. We want to show that in raising their livestock and through raising cattle, ranchers are maintaining landscape health, they are enhancing biodiversity, they are caring for wildlife, and really helping to support a functioning prairie ecosystem. And it's not an exaggeration to say that the ranchers we work with are essentially habitat conservationists. So we really want to tell that story. And we recognize, telling the story is not going to be a magic bullet. It's not going to create payment for ecosystem services overnight. But what we do hope will happen is that we can at least generate conversation, stimulate dialogue, have people raise questions and ask, well, where can we go from here? And that key word is really we, not just OGC, not just producers, and it's not just up to consumers either, but we as a society, we all eat, we hopefully all enjoy our food. How can we really understand each other and what it takes to steward the land, and why should that be important, and why is that important to all of us? So that's really what the Conservation Caravan aims to do. And I invite you to check out OGC's website, grasslandcommunity.org, and learn more about this Conservation Caravan film. We're just getting started. We're actually filming down in the Grasslands in about a week and a half, and we hope to launch the film in September, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And we hope that after viewing the film, people will continue to ask those questions about, where did my beef come from? That's definitely important. But then just take one step beyond that and think about the landscape, think about the wildlife, and really better understand the grassland system's dependence on what ranching leaves behind. Thank you.
Awesome job. All right, next up we have Matthew Stepanek, editor of Glass Buffalo Literary Magazine, presenting on mythic power.
Books contain mythic power. They have the ability to shape a person. You'll get this if you've ever read a story to a child. You may just want them to go to sleep, but sometimes you can inspire them. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose. I love books. My mother, a lover of Danielle Steele's romances, used to take my sister, a fan of the Sweet Valley High series, and me to the Medicine Hat Public Library. I'd check out at least 10 books every time we visited and devour each one before the due date. This slide coming up here is my own library. Well, actually, it's not even a sixth of it. The rest of my collection lives with my parents in Medicine Hat. When I found a more permanent residence here and have once more united my books, I'm pretty sure we'll be featured on the next episode of Hoarders. I love stories. When I was 16, I was excited to earn my driver's license because then I could drive myself to the library and spend as much time as I wanted browsing without a bored parent trying to hurry me along. I always want to be surrounded by stories, either reading them or writing them. So I studied English and creative writing at the University of Alberta, and I bought more books, most of which slept beside me in my bed when I couldn't fit them on the shelf. My writing professors challenged me to write about the causes that I cared about and to explore my unique identity. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. He makes you give a shit about his characters before he tosses them into terrifying situations. For one story in a class, I wrote about a group of joyriding teens who run over a cat. The cat returns from beyond the grave to seek its revenge by picking off the cherished pets of the teens. My prof didn't like the story. He said it was formulaic, which was the point. I love formula horror. And he said that the real story was why the male protagonist was hanging out with a group of girls. But I didn't know how to tell that story. Well, I refined my voice with the encouragement of later profs. I found the words to talk about the parts of myself that I left unspoken. In case you couldn't tell by this picture of me looking like a red crayon at Edmonton Pride, or by my styling blue velvet pants tonight, I identify as a queer individual. 1 second. It's coming. This is someone that I would like to spend a night with. Oh my goodness. We've reached the point of I need to say this. We've reached the point of the night where I can reveal the true intent of my presentation. If anyone knows Colton Haynes and thinks that he might be interested in sharing a bed with me and some books, please contact me after. I'm sorry. I couldn't resist adding another picture. It's hard for me to talk about my sexuality with someone I meet. It feels awkward to bring up in conversation, kind of like this? I don't know. I learned the words from my own story. Most of the stories that I read paired the boys up with the girls. Ron ends up with Hermione, Elizabeth Bennet finds Mr. Darcy, and even Romeo and Juliet are still worshipped for their week-long, blood-soaked relationship. And that's a little bit messed. So every story seemed like a Shakespearean comedy to follow a heterosexual marriage plot. And for most of my teen years, I convinced myself that this could be my story too. I mean, I enjoy the company of girls, so I could probably marry one. And that whole sex thing is negotiable. I don't see a nod. Well, one of my profs, Ruth, once asked me if I could name any queer authors. I couldn't. So she recommended a huge list of books and sent me off to find the words for my own story. I read Jeanette Winterson, Shani Mutu, Poppy Z. Bright, and Adrienne Rich, who is coming up. Here we are. Unfortunately, I read her because I'd heard that she died, which, a sidebar, is a frustratingly common way for me to discover writers. You'd think we'd have figured out a way to keep the good ones alive and writing for forever or something. Anyway, in Rich's poem, Diving into the Wreck, she uses the story of a diver submerging into the ocean to describe the awkward discomfort of wearing a suit that doesn't fit, the mounting fear of following a path that doesn't feel right, and the disappointment of discovering you were never the protagonist in your own life. We are, I am, you are, by cowardice or courage, the one who find our way back to the scene, carrying a knife, a camera, a book of myths, in which our names do not appear. Everyone's name should appear in the book of myths. When you find your name in the right story, like when you understand that there's nothing funny about Argy in Shyam Salvador's Funny Boy, you connect with the story's mythic power like it was waiting for you. Just gonna wait for this to slip to the next one. I've begun building my own book of myths. Glass Buffalo magazine is a place for emerging writers at the University of Alberta to find the words for their own stories, to cultivate their mythic power, and to store it for another to read. So, if you do not feel comfortable on the path of your own story, if your name has yet to appear in the book of myths, keep reading. Don't constrain yourself in a story that doesn't fit. You will connect with the mythic power of some story. And once you find the words for your own story, write it for another to read. Every story has mythic power. If my overcrowded bookshelves stand testament to anything, it is that there is more than one story. Thank you for listening to mine tonight.
Thank you, Matthew. Our final presenter tonight is Quen Tang, teacher, graphic designer, comic book letterer, and adventurer, with the presentation on the Ha-Ling Project.
"11 years, 10 months, about 18 days, and 10 hours ago, I drove to the top of Hawling Mountain. Actually, not Hawling Mountain, I wish it was. Drove on top of the Coca-Cola in BC. And then the unthinkable happened. Our car went over the cliff, and I was thrown out of the vehicle about 40 meters, broke my neck, crushed my lower back, 13 fractures on my right shoulder, broke my right wrist, crushed my left foot, and punctured my left lung. I smile today. I'm a quadriplegic. I smile because my friends like Matt in the picture. He came to me one day and said, Quen, there's a really difficult mountain. It's hard. Nobody in a wheelchair has ever climbed it. I know you're afraid of heights. Do you want to go? Wow, with an invitation like that, how can you refuse? There we are, trying to figure out, with the Rocky Mountain Adaptive Support Center and pushed open. Behind us, tip of that mountain is where we're headed. With 41 volunteers and myself, 20 of them came from Worley Parsons, which is where I work, my coworkers. And my work was so inspired. They were so inspired, they decided to sponsor the event. There we are, at the very first trip, hiking up. My ass and my back said this was easy for 5 minutes. And we had 6 groups, and they thought of everything. How do a wheelchair person go up a mountain? There it is. It's called a trail rider. It's a one-wheeled wheelchair. I feel royalty in there. I am the mountain princess after all. And we have people behind pushing and people in front pulling. And this is where my ass said, uh-oh. When we went over tree roots, trunks. There's no roots on this mountain to climb up to. There's no trails. There's just us and the environment. And there it is us again, going over some difficult turns. We had people on both sides, lifting, pushing, pulling. Hopefully, I don't fall over. And the danger of falling over was every second as we were climbing. I'm always smiling. I was excited. My adrenaline kept me going. And I didn't dare to look far. Uh-oh. Does that mean I get extra minutes to talk? Oh, there I am again, smiling. I'm smiling because I get this opportunity. There, I'm being lifted over rocks, and my back did not like that. These are people like yourselves, people in our community who believed in something bigger. Bigger than me, bigger than the chair. I put this picture there to show you the height, the elevation of how we're going up. Plus, I told everybody I'd make their ass famous, because that's where I was looking at the whole time we were going up. But I decided to be a little nicer and show some asses. So there is where we're hitting pretty close to the top of the peak. You can see the elevation. Truly, nobody in a wheelchair has ever gone up to that mountain before. It's 8,000 feet above, and towards the top is all rocks. I take a moment to breathe in the fresh air. Again, don't forget, I'm deathly afraid of heights. That's why I have people surrounding me. The view was breathtaking. Most of you may take small things like that for granted. For somebody who's lost that choice, it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and not many of us get to experience that. So there we are, heading towards the peak. Taking another quick, short break, because the hike was not easy. For myself, elevation, well, I'm pretty short. I don't have to worry about elevation until I went up that high. It was difficult to breathe. And of course, like Matthew, where are you? I have to put some cute boys picture that we found. On top of Howling Mountain, there were some good-looking boys, and my friend Joyce there said, "Oh my God, GQ boys." I'm like, "Boys, would you like to take some picture with the first quadriplegic to hike up Howling?" So they came. And there we are going towards the top. You can see it's all rocks. No more easy trails. No more easy push and pull. And there we're at the top. I can feel that adrenaline this moment. I can feel that emotion. I can still feel those hot tears running down my face. And of course, success. Everybody, hands up. Success. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Success. There you go. That's how it felt. I was up on top of the world. To be honest, is that it took one company, Worley Parsons, to open their minds. It took a community like yourselves to open your heart. And it took all of us working together to make this impossible mission possible. We can do that. And just before I end, because I was told I was allowed an extra second, I'm going to leave you with one question. If I can do that with everybody here, what is possible? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Quinn, for finishing off our night. That's awesome. How about those 10 presenters? Pretty sweet.
You all did a fantastic job. Please remember to meet the Light the Breach Street team if you're a winner. NextGen is so fortunate to have sponsors and partners that live in our vision and allow us to host events like these.
You bet. It's funny because normally you hear at presentations at this part, we got to give some time to these and name these people, but without our sponsors, it really wouldn't happen. So we're going to give them their due diligence here. We'd like to take a moment to thank our gold sponsor, Capital Power Corporation, whose generous support really does allow us to continue Pecha Kucha Nights in Edmonton. Give them a shout out.
Additionally, we'd like to thank the City of Edmonton, Famoso Napolitan Pizzeria for giving us all free pizzas again.
Sweet.
Graphos, Klein Dytham, and Northlands.
A big thank you to tonight's presenters. DJ Chris Harvey, who will be coming back up. Special guest Owen Brierly with Guru Digital Arts College, who's done this awesome stuff during our intermission. And photographer Fumi from FO Photography. I got that right. I had to practice that one. Media Co. and team.
The Edmonton Journal, the Citadel and team, and of course, a big thanks to the amazing and dedicated volunteers of the organizing committee. Okay, we'll see you next time at the biggest, greatest, and awesome PKN 17 in October.
Sweet. All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out. If we could have all the presenters to the stage, we'd love to take your picture, please. Thanks, everyone.
Have a good night.